Hello, I am Pastor Christina, and it's an honor to talk with you this week. This week in the Christian tradition, we refer to it as Holy Week or Passion Week. And there are so many things around me that help make me remember important times in my life. I'm sure that each of you have different things that bring up memories for you. Maybe it's a special smell. Maybe the smell of cookies or cinnamon rolls. I know the smell of cinnamon always makes me think of cinnamon rolls. Maybe it's a special song that comes on and you just want to start singing and dancing, and it makes you all happy and you want to sing with your friends. And maybe there are some memories that are a little bit sad and a little bit happy. And that's how it is during Holy Week for us. We have some, like the palm branches in these trees at the front, they're a little bit happy and a little bit sad. And the rest of the things that are here, we use them in the church to help us remember things. And most of them are a little bit sad and a little bit happy. For some of us, we've spent different days recently making gardens. And the soil and the seeds and the rocks, we put them together and we talk about the gardens that God planted, the gardens that people were in, that Jesus prayed in, that other people walked in, and sometimes they were there talking to God. And we talk about how God created everything, and God created us, and God made us to be in relationship with one another and to be in relationship with God, and that we are all created in God's image, and that sometimes the gardens are empty and dry. But as time goes on, the gardens grow, the grass and the seeds, those especially that get to be planted in the good soil and get food, nourishment, and water, grow and grow and grow. They get sun and everything. And sometimes they even grow through the rocky places. And this is one of our gardens. And this is the cave that we're going to talk about soon, that's going to help us to remember one of the stories. We have other memories. We use this plate and this cup to remember the meal that Jesus gave us, to remember Him and His love and His life. We remember crosses. And sometimes we wear them. Sometimes we carry them in our pockets or around our necks. Sometimes we put them up high on walls and buildings. Sometimes we see them when we look at people. And they all help us to remember sad parts and happy parts. But there are other things here that help us to remember as well. I want you to stop for a second. And I want you to think about something in your life that helps you to remember a happy thing. Maybe it's a book, or that song that makes you want to dance and sing. Maybe it's a poem or a smell. But what makes you think of something happy? Stop and think about it for a second. For me, one of the things that I really, really get happy about is something that my mom told me to do those days that I was upset and frustrated and I couldn't see anything wonderful going on. She told me to look for butterflies and rainbows, and I was supposed to count them every day. And so I looked for butterflies. And in the Christian tradition, we talk about butterflies a lot because butterflies are an insect that grow and change and become something new and beautiful and different. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more in a minute. And now I want you to think for just a second about something that's not so happy. Something that maybe is a little bit more sad. But in the long run, it becomes happy. And for me, it's this week. There's sad parts and there's happy parts. The sad parts are that Jesus died. And he has the image of a cross where he died. But that cross I can also look at to remember the happy parts that come. Because after Jesus died, I can take the image of a garden because his friends loved him. And they took his body and they carefully buried him, wrapping him up, and they put him in a cave. And then they took the rock to cover up the cave so no one could get in. And then that sad part that reminds me of his death, I can put there to remind me. And that's an image that I can remember. And I look at it, and it's there. But I remember that Jesus had good friends. And I remember they took care of him. And then I remember that it didn't end with that. But the reason we celebrate Easter, that this week has sad parts, just like all of our lives do. But there are happy times as well. Because when his friends went to visit his grave, like many of us do, that stone that had been there covering his grave was gone. And it has moved to the side. It was no longer covering his grave. And that cloth that they had carefully wrapped him in was folded. But he was no longer there. He was alive. And he looked different because he shone, and he was bright and glistening. But his body was all there, walking around and eating and talking, kind of like a butterfly. Like a caterpillar that went into its cocoon and came out the same but different, a new life. So now when I look at something that can make me a little sad, like the cross that's on a wrist, or a necklace, or up high on a wall, or when I look at a butterfly or a rainbow high up in the sky, I'm also happy because I can think of Jesus. So I'd like you to think of the things that make you remember, because that's what we do all the time, we take things and help us to remember. And hopefully, everything that makes us sad, we can help to find something that makes us happy, that can help us to remember the good that comes with the bad. Let us find the joy in all of our sad things, not only this week, but every week. Thank you, and amen.